What if the biggest reason most businesses struggle has absolutely nothing to do with their product or their marketing or even their strategy? Well, today we're diving into this really fascinating, kind of counterintuitive approach to success from author Neale Walsch. It's a philosophy that basically flips everything we've ever been taught about business completely on its head. Let's get right into it. So, to really get this whole idea, we have to start with a pretty fundamental question. Why is it that so many people pour their heart, their soul, everything they have into a business, maybe even get some success, but still feel, well, unfulfilled? Or why do so many businesses just never seem to get off the ground at all? It's a story you hear all the time, and the answer might be hiding in the very first decision we make when we start. And that leads us right to the first big idea, the motivation behind the business. According to Walsh, most of us start our ventures for what he calls the wrong reason. So, what exactly does he mean by that? Well, here it is, side by side. The conventional way of thinking says business is all about making money, right? Building financial security, chasing profit. But this new perspective suggests something totally different, that a business should be about creating joy, and not just as some happy little byproduct, but as the #1 goal. Okay, that is a pretty bold statement, but it's really important to understand what wrong means here. This isn't a moral judgment. It's about being inefficient. The whole idea is that when your first motive is profit, you're actually working against the natural flow of the universe, which makes finding success way harder than it needs to be. So if it's not about money, then what is it about? This brings us to the core paradigm shift of this whole philosophy. The idea that the universe itself runs on a completely different kind of fuel. All right, that might sound a little shocking, maybe even kind of harsh. But the idea here is that the universe is totally impartial. It doesn't play favorites. It doesn't have a vested interest in whether your specific business makes it or not. But this doesn't mean things are just random. It just means the universe is operating on a totally different principle. You see, while the universe might not be looking at your profit and loss statement, it is a mechanism. It's a system. And the fuel for that entire system, the energy that makes the whole thing go, is joy. So when you align your work with creating joy, you're tapping directly into the universe's primary power source. Now, that all sounds great in theory, but how do you actually find that joy? I mean, what if you have no idea what it is? Well, the source material gives us a super practical guide to help you pinpoint it. Think of these 3 questions as your personal compass. First, what is something you love so much you do it for free? Second, you know those moments when you look at the clock and hours have just vanished? What were you doing? And third, what kind of work, when it's all done, leaves you with this deep, soul-level feeling of satisfaction? The answers to these questions point you straight to your most authentic business. Okay, so once you've figured out what that joy is, the next step is all about expressing it. And this is where authenticity becomes your single most powerful marketing tool. There's this fantastic story from the source material that just illustrates this perfectly. So get this. There was this incredibly skilled chiropractor in San Diego. The few patients he had said he was amazing, a true healer, but he just could not get enough clients to make a living. His ads looked like every other chiropractor's ad in the yellow pages. Listing services, hours, we accept insurance, totally generic. He was basically invisible. Then he got some advice to change his ad. He took out a big quarter-page ad that was almost completely blank, and right in the middle, in this small, simple font, was just this one sentence. It wasn't about what he did, it was about why he did it. It was his authentic joy, just put right out there for the world to see. And the results? It was staggering. I mean, the phone started ringing off the hook. People weren't connecting with a list of services. They were connecting with the person behind the practice. By sharing his real, authentic purpose, he tapped into an energy that no generic marketing could ever touch. He literally became a magnet for the exact people who needed what he had to offer. Now, this same principle of authenticity goes way beyond just your advertising. It leads to another really powerful idea: radical transparency in how you actually run your business. This means being totally open with everyone, your employees, and yes, even your customers. Let me give you another real-world example. A remodeling contractor in San Diego decided to do something crazy. He started showing every single client his exact costs for every single item, every nail, every piece of wood, every hour of labor. His price was simple: his cost times 3. And you know what happened? He became the most sought-after contractor in the whole county because people knew, without a doubt, they could trust him. So, the crucial point here is that building a business based on joy isn't just some vague idea. It involves these clear, actionable principles. It's about being real in your message and totally transparent in how you operate. It's about creating this environment of trust where everyone, from customers to employees, feels valued, because you get that any true benefit has to be mutual. And all of this, every single point we've talked about, it all points to the final and maybe the most important piece of the puzzle. It means shifting your focus away from what you do and putting it on who you are. Because success, as it turns out, is just an outcome of your state of being.
Just think back to that chiropractor for a second. People didn't suddenly flock to him because he came up with some brand new chiropractic technique. They came because of who he was, a genuine healer who just wanted to help people. The argument here is that customers are ultimately attracted to your energy, your essence, your beingness, way more than the specific product or service you're trying to sell.
And these are the qualities that make up that magnetic beingness. It's the joy you radiate, the friendliness you offer to people, the genuine level of care and compassion you show. When you operate from this kind of place, you don't have to chase success anymore. You just attract it because people want to be around that kind of energy. They want to support people who are living in and sharing their joy. So ultimately, after digging into this radical guide to success, the real takeaway isn't about finding a better business plan. It's about looking inward. Success doesn't come from what you're doing, but from who you're being while you're doing it. So the question I want to leave you with is this: who are you being?